This morning, one senator wants to see more tax incentives for domestic violence shelters after seeing some struggle. And Commonwealth legislation is trying to solve the SRO crisis many schools are facing.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News This Morning.
Good morning, I'm Madison Carmouche. We are at 5:30 a.m. on February 23rd, 2024. Let's check in with meteorologist Tim Drawbridge for a look at your forecast this morning.
And Madison, a little wet outside, but the shower action is starting to diminish. And outside our studios, we are in the mid-40s. All right, check out the headlines as we get ready to say bye-bye work week. Hello, weekend. All right, some of you aren't going to really want to say hello weekend, taking note of what's in the middle here. An early shower threat that's diminishing. We'll see a shower threat late this afternoon to this evening, and again, more of the scattered variety versus the uniform precipitation pattern we saw come in last night. Cold, brisk tomorrow. Struggling to hit 40, but hey, we're back into the 60s most of next week. Check it out. We're in the mid-upper 40s into the lower 50s. Harlan, though, at 54. The pinpoint Doppler radar from Hazard points south and east, showing the rain departing. We look back to the north and west, wrinkle rotating through the flow. That's the reason why we have that shower threat heading for the afternoon. We'll call it becoming partly sunny, a bit breezy. That shower threat scattered, coming in late this afternoon with a high in Hazard up to 57. More about the first alert 7-day forecast in a few moments. Madison?
Tim, thank you. A Southern Kentucky man is accused of killing his wife. Deputies say the couple's daughter-in-law found Doris and James Brock unresponsive in their home. Deputies say 67-year-old Doris died from a gunshot wound. 78-year-old James Brock was found breathing and was taken to the hospital for an apparent drug overdose. Deputies say he shot and killed Doris during an argument. Brock is charged with murder. A Corbin man is facing charges after police received complaints about the man acting suspicious at a car dealership. It happened early Wednesday morning when Knox County Sheriff's deputies noticed 20-year-old Matthew Gray trying to break into a vehicle. Police were able to bring Gray into custody after he tried to get away on foot. Gray was taken to the Knox County Detention Center. A Harlan County man is behind bars after police served him with a probation violation warrant. Last week, Harlan County Sheriff's deputies went to a home in the Wallens community as they were trying to serve Joshua Maggard with the warrant. Police say they heard a conversation going on between Maggard and his girlfriend. Once police were allowed in the house, Maggard was arrested after he had been hiding under a bed. In Laurel County, police are looking for a car that was stolen. Take a look at your screen. Officials with the sheriff's office say they are looking for a 2005 Chevrolet Impala. If you have any information about the case, you are asked to contact the sheriff's office at 606-864-6600. The death penalty has been a big topic in the past few weeks, and a Central Kentucky publisher has joined the conversation with the book Final Words. It highlights the last statements of hundreds of people executed. It was published last fall, but is now receiving more attention with the death penalty thrust back into the spotlight. After Alabama executed the country's first inmate using nitrogen gas, Garrett Weimer has the story.
Yes, I do. I know y'all's pain.
An actor, not a prisoner.
Carlos was my friend. I didn't murder him.
But still the haunting final words
Y'all fought real hard here to prove my innocence.
of a man condemned to death.
This what is happening right now is an injustice.
Words no less powerful on printed page.
It's the voices that tell the story, totally. It's the voices.
The book is Final Words. Its author, 578 men and women executed on Texas death row. The University Press of Kentucky, based in Lexington, published the book.
I think people are understanding the importance of these final words and that what can we learn from them? You know, what when you're reading them, we can each take something from them.
New York photographer Mark Asnan had the idea for the project 10 years ago, but at the time couldn't work on it. Now, though, these final words may be as timely as ever. Some written, some spoken, some seeking forgiveness, some proclaiming their innocence, still some with none at all.
They're humans.
Yeah.
And listen, there's
Yeah.
some maybe bad characters that did bad things, and I'm not saying that they should be walking the streets.
Randall Horton says he could have easily ended up on death row.
Who made us the keeper of someone else's soul?
He spent time in prison, now a poet, professor, and advocate. He wrote the book's foreword.
At the end of the day, I see human beings, and that's just it. I see, the complexity that is what they call, the carceral state.
Each two-page spread includes a mugshot and an inmate's information, name, age, race, education, and the often chilling details of the crimes for which they were convicted. Some of them, Horton writes, so heinous that they will test where you are on the scale of forgiveness.
What I find really distressing and so deeply upsetting is that there's this narrative of what's the most effective way of executing someone. I don't see the conversation of why are we doing that?
Those involved have their own views, but the work itself lets the executed prisoners speak for themselves.
We know wherever you stand on the death penalty, you can't read this and not be affected.
I love y'all. Stay strong. Continue to fight.
That's where they say their project gets its power.
You will see me again.
That these final words continue to echo.
That's all I can say.
Long after the chamber falls quiet. Garrett Weimer, WKYT.
Kentucky is one of 27 states where the death penalty is legal. The state's last execution was in 2008. A bipartisan bill to abolish the death penalty has been introduced in the state house. One legislator is hoping a bill he filed makes donating to domestic violence shelters more enticing. Senator David Yates introduced Senate Bill 214 to help domestic violence and rape crisis centers. The bill caps donations to $50,000 each taxable year while giving up to 70% in rebates. Yates says some shelters are struggling.
I'm trying to incentivize people to do contributions to domestic violence centers. Right now, obviously, the rape crisis centers, domestic violence centers, they've really taken a hit. The volunteers have come to me, and I'm worried about providing the service and people coming to them, and they're not having rooms available.
Yates says he hopes this bill will allow folks and businesses to make donations without worrying about a budget. A new bill was introduced yesterday in Frankfort that is focused on school safety. Senate Bill 2 is looking to address the school resource officer shortage. Districts are struggling to find and hire SROs, and Kentucky law requires every district to have one. Senator Max Wise says the bill will create a program to bring in more help to increase school safety.
The Guardian program is not replacing the school resource officers, also known as SROs, but is an additional layered approach of school safety where a volunteer basis can be done, where honorably discharged veterans, retired Kentucky State Troopers, retired federal law enforcement officers, retired federal law enforcement officers can become employees of a school district to be a guardian.
Senate Bill 2 also prioritizes mental health for students and staff dealing with traumas. Kentucky State Senate advanced a measure that would highlight universities working together to fund and establish research. It is Senate Bill 1 and sponsored by Senate President Robert Stivers. Stivers told a legislative panel that universities would work together instead of competing for research to move forward.
These are the types of investments I believe we need to make to take us into a 21st century provider of healthcare, but economics and exploration, and as well as the research components that you're seeing many states go after.
Senate Bill 1 passed unanimously in the Education Committee and now goes to the Senate floor. As electric vehicle charging stations expand, a new proposal in the Kentucky legislature aims to protect gas stations. House Bill 581 was filed this week. It would stop local governments from passing zoning laws that treat gas stations and EV charging stations differently. State Representative Ken Upchurch says his bill is an important economic preventative measure.
Gas stations are a primary source for our road revenue through the gas tax, that it was something that we wanted to take a look at.
However, electric vehicle proponents say they do not understand the reasoning behind the bill. The House bill currently sits under committee review. Since the state rolled out its new monitor vehicle database back in January, county clerks across the Bluegrass have experienced a number of issues. However, almost a month later, we are told things are looking up for the CAVIS system. Madison County Clerk Kenny Barger says that they have seen a major decrease in the number of bugs in the system and adds that even though the adjustment period has been bumpy, the upgrade is worth it.
This is the tip of the iceberg. We're going to start doing electronic dealer paperwork. We're looking at it. We've been studying Clerk Association electronic titling in Kentucky. So you don't have to keep up with your title. It lives electronically. Those things were not at all ever possible with the old motor vehicle database.
Barger says there is some fine-tuning that still needs to be done, but even during their busiest time of the day, people should be able to get through the process in about 20 minutes. When we return, one iconic star is advocating for others to stop doing their own stunts while he recovers from another back surgery.